because you're probably one of the key people who can answer this question pretty well. Um, Given all your expertise from the beginning of open source, the founding of inner source, decentralization, Web3, AI, all these different techs coming together, there's different communities that tailor to each, and your strengths seem to be pulling from that, especially with coordinating. What would you say the term of community has evolved over that experience? Or how would you define it?
Yeah, I think it's better understood now. If you want to look at an effective community management system, I think it pays to look at Drupal. You can argue that Drupal, either doesn't have the same momentum it did, or WordPress 1, or whatever you want to say about Drupal, but they had a community crisis. First of all, it was a lifestyle project. Almost everybody
Hmm.
that worked in it also lived it. They tended to be mom and pop shops. They tended to be working out of their homes, a lot of them. One of the partners would be good at design, and the other one would be good at and it maybe also talking to customers, and the other one would be good at the engineering, right? A lot of people got through decades with that expertise. But at some point there was a crisis because there was a member of that community that turned out to not be who they thought he was. And it really, really shook them. And watching how they pulled that all back together was fascinating to me. They clearly cared more about the community than they did at the end of the day about the project, although they thought the project would only do well if the community was cohesive. They spent a lot of time rebuilding trust and putting things in place that made people feel safe and not at risk for participating in that way. Because one of the reasons people work in corporations is it's safe. You can hide,
Yeah.
right? Um, so it takes some extra chutzpah to work in the clear. I used to say on stage all the time, we get paid about a third more. This used to be true. Open source developers were paid about a third more than regular developers. And I'd be like, do you know why that is? And, people would have ideas. I'd say, it's because we're willing to show our code, so it's got to be good. We're better coders,
Hmm.
right? And so you have to be willing to be seen.